Real quick before we get into the episode, I am trying to reach a goal of 1,000 listeners. Whether you are new to this podcast or you're an avid listener, I would love for you to give me a like, share, and a follow so we can reach my goal of 1,000 listeners. Also have provided in the description of the podcast options for those who want to support this podcast to donate to the podcast. So help me reach 1,000 listeners, and let's get into the episode. Ew. Welcome to Stuck in a Truck. I'm your host, Nick, and this is Stuck in a Truck. Ew. Welcome to Stuck in a Truck. I'm your host, Nick. This is a podcast for all those people out there stuck in peculiar situations and, can't seem to find themselves either out of a mindset, out of their depression, anxiety, you name it. This is the podcast for you. And let's go ahead and get into the episode. I want to just say, just at the get-go, how much this has been a process for me. I've only done a few episodes now. I posted my first few episodes, I think 2 days ago. And there's a lot that's happened within that time that I feel like I just want to talk about. And I think my topic is forgiveness. Giving people the grace and the acknowledgement or the benefit of the doubt. Yes, we can understand that we are stuck in a situation where, quite honestly, we don't have a lot of wiggle room to deal with anyone else's problems. We just don't, including myself. I'm in a situation where I struggle on a daily basis with giving people enough grace. And I know a lot of people may or may not take advantage of that, but who cares? It builds your character as a person. Yes, there's times where you need to be assertive and stand up for yourself, but there's some times where you just need to take it on the chin, realize where that person's coming from, and just have a healthy understanding of the human condition. Because quite honestly, you can reflect back on your incidents where you weren't that good of a person either. You had made mistakes, you had issues or situations or stresses or anxieties going on the current moment, and you just took it out on the wrong person. I'm guilty of that. I'm constantly guilty of that. And I have to constantly remember that people are imperfect. People are human. And I just wanted to just lay down a little bit of now I'm not going to get into current issues that are currently happening, but the insight that I have felt has made my whole situation just around myself, how I feel about myself, my stress levels, my anxiety. I've found that if I give people the grace when they flip out on you, they blow up, they curse you out, they threaten your job, they threaten whatever X, Y, and Z situation you're in currently. And it's caused a lot of harm to you. But luckily you kept your cool during the whole entire situation and you just let them have their day. And luckily you got the opportunity to be patient with somebody. I believe patience and forgiveness go very much hand in hand. And again, like I'm saying, if you're in a really toxic situation where you can be harmed, you need to distance yourself from that situation. And forgiveness is not a fix-all kind of a thing. Here's what I mean by forgiveness. Somebody yells at you for doing something wrong, and they just have an overreaction to the issue that currently was happening at the moment, that you were either doing wrong or you weren't doing fast enough, etc. And they just blow a fuse. I had a situation where, unfortunately, I did mess up. I created an issue and a problem. However, my supervisor had other things going on, and he ended up, putting me through more than he necessarily needed to or even intended to. And I was stressed coming into work, and I wasn't sure if I wanted to work that day, or I didn't want to deal with the conflict. I wasn't sure if he was going to give me even more. But turns out I ended up just, I ended up just dropping the issue. I let it go, took a deep breath, and let things go, where I said, you know what, this stress, this is a burden to me. This constantly wondering if I'm going to have a job, if I'm not going to have a job, etc. It's exhausting. So I'm going to let it go, and I'm just going to figure out what I can do to make the situation better. Well, long story short, I get a full understanding of what was actually going on, and he ended up being sick. I had to go home, and I thought it was best to basically patch the situation where he knew that I let him know, like, indirectly, that I forgave him. And I texted him and I said, hey, are you doing okay? I heard that you were sick today. And luckily, that conversation went well, and I was I don't know how the situation is going to change now, but the temperature of the situation dramatically cooled down. And I think one thing that I can just give it as just some kind of insight is, sometimes we don't know the whole story, and maybe this is just insight on just how to react to people. Maybe more or less not forgiveness, but how to react to people who blow up in your face. And for me, a trauma response for me is just, I just freeze and I just let things happen, especially if it's a superior over me and I have something to lose, and I just take it. And it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I do get steamrolled over, but it also allows me the chance to not react to the situation, because I could have just blown up, say, hey, you don't talk to me that way, and it could have made the situation a whole lot worse. And maybe there definitely is a time and a place to react to that, because you shouldn't be involved in any kind of abuse like that, or any kind of a disrespect in that way. But however, it might be like a smart thing to do, just let it happen, let it cool off, and then just approach the thing and say, hey, listen, I understand. I understand. I have no clue what's going on behind the curtain. Whatever is happening in your personal life, your work life, your relationship life, etc. I don't know what's going on, but what I do know is that I made you upset, and let's address that. I'm sorry that I messed up. I'll do better. I'm going to let you know that respectfully, the situation I felt like was, taken out of proportion, and I don't need an apology, but I just need to let you know that, hey, it's water under the bridge, but for future reference, hey, that's just not going to slide. And depending on your boss, luckily I have a boss who does cool down and he gets a little hot-headed and then realizes he's done something wrong, and he becomes a better man and lets things go and chooses to forgive my wrongdoings, and as well as apologizes for his wrongdoings. But I felt just in that meeting, because it wasn't a huge conversation with him. I was like, I can be the bigger person, and the moral story is forgiveness. Just be the bigger person. You will always have the high ground when you are the bigger person, and you might carry a little bit of trauma, but you can take a deep breath, and that trauma you don't have to carry. You can be the bigger person, process that trauma, and just let it go. And let things go and understand that everything's going to be okay. Today, it was stressful. I had to, go to bed late and wake up early to do some closing and signing of paperwork to close on my house, which I'm so happy I was able to do, because it's been, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks now, that we postponed it. And luckily now that's all done with. I'm just waiting for, finance to go through, and hey, we're good. And that relieved a lot of stress and put me in a good enough mood to be the bigger person. And I think I can learn a little bit from this situation, because again, this podcast, I'm learning, you're learning, we're all learning, because I'm not perfect. I'm a faulted man, and I'm only just trying to make the world just better. I'm not perfect. I've got my faults. I've got anger issues. I've got trust issues. I've got trauma issues. I'm human, and so are you. So I had to forgive myself today. No, that was the thing. Forgiveness also goes two ways. You got to forgive yourself too, because today I did everything I humanly possibly could, and one thing malfunctioned, and it just kind of threw, a wrench in the gears. And I had to forgive myself. It's like, no, you did the right thing, and you're not going to beat yourself up for this. So whenever you make mistakes, someone else makes mistakes, and the mistakes meaning they blow up on you for something that you probably didn't deserve, you can forgive them, but also you got to forgive yourself for making mistakes, because I think that's the biggest thing I believe you could do as a human being is, again, like I said, sometimes we're going to make the wrong choices, but they'll bring us in the right choice eventually, but they won't bring us to we won't be able to realize that we're in the right place until we forgive ourselves for the wrong choices that we've done. And if anything I can do to, provide any kind of advice, or even just open up a conversation about how to be treated as an employee or a boss, or how to treat someone as a boss, or how to treat people as a boss, or etc. I'd like to open up new conversations. If you would like to open up a conversation, or would like to leave a story that for me to react to, or to work something through with you, you can write in to my email, which is tied to the podcast. It is nickpodcasts@gmail.com. So submit something to nickpodcasts@gmail.com, and you can submit your stories, you can submit questions, you can submit your comments on episodes, you can bring up something you'd like to have me talk about and expound on. You name it. But I'd like to invite you to, send an email in and see what I can do to do something for somebody who needs help. But I'm just going to end this episode with learn to forgive yourself. Learn to forgive others, and you will learn to be happy. This has been Stuck in a Truck. You guys have a wonderful day.